Hello and welcome back, Squirrel Nation. I hope you all are having an outstanding day. Today's topic, we are going to cover the impact of the new enhanced melee minion and how it could possibly change the meta overall. Before we dive into the video, for those of you new to the channel, please smash that subscribe button so you don't miss out on any of my future videos. With that said, let's dive in. So, quick rundown is I charted out the first 9 waves of the game. For those of you that are not aware, the 10th wave is the first wave in the game that will have the siege minion. So basically what I'm showing is all the waves prior to the minion waves containing a siege minion. On note, the siege minion in the Dragon Lane now will be replacing the ranged minion, so the Abysmal Dragon Lane will actually still have a super minion, a melee, 1 melee, and 1 siege minion. So the super minion actually persists throughout the entire game. That's the main point. So basically, if we look at the first 9 waves, it's saying essentially the first 5 minutes of the game, okay? So this is the total gold available to a player in the first 5 minutes of the game, okay? So I'll let you guys look through this more if you want. You can just pause the video and look through the values, but the key thing to look at is the total after the 9th wave. Also keep in mind these values count last hitting, so if you are missing last hits, then these values will be lower by approximately 40%, okay? So instead of 91 for the first super minion, you would actually only get 65 gold. So keep that in mind. And then with the tower changes, that could also affect it. So this is optimum. You're getting every single last hit outside of tower range. Sorry. Okay, so we have the super minion values, the melee values, and the ranged. So that's important because now we know the Dragon Lane is the only lane that has a super minion. So it has 1 super minion, 1 melee, and 1 ranged, okay? And if you add all that up, what it ends up being is 1,882 gold, counting last hits. If you get no last hits for any of the waves, it's worth 1,345 gold, okay? So why does this matter? Well, this matters because if you look at the mid lane and the DS lane, they're significantly lower at 1515, okay? So basically there is a large disparity in gold now between the mid lane, the Darkslayer lane, and the Dragon lane, okay? So the Dragon laner, whatever hero you plan to put in the Dragon lane, is going to have about 370 extra gold available to them at the 5-minute mark, okay? So that is something to keep in mind. And then now I'm going to show you the jungle gold because that also matters, right? And once again, you can look through, I'll explain this quickly. By clear, this is your first entire clear on side 1 and side 2. So think of A and B as being your red or your blue side. It doesn't matter. It's just your first clear will happen when the buffs, both red and blue, are worth 74 and the small camps are worth 62. But on your second clear, the values are actually increasing such that if you kill the blue buff side and then you go to the red buff side, the values will already have upgraded to the next tier, right? So on your second clear, you would get like 78 gold for blue. Both the small camps on the blue side, you'd get 66, but then when you went to the red side, you would get 80 gold from killing it, just because of the way the times work. So anyways, I counted the first 3 clears because once again, the first 3 clears approximately end at around the 5-minute mark, okay? So most first clear ends at 1:30, then the buffs would respawn around 3 minutes, and then you would have to take the clear time and add on. So anyways, it's gonna be around 5 minutes. So I tried to keep the jungle time and the first 9 minions pretty equal, or as equal as I can. So anyways, that ends up in 1,276 gold. Okay, so we look at that number, and that is significantly lower than Dragon Lane, okay? So let's look at the exact gold. So 1,276, and we go versus 1,882 if you last hit everything, right? So that's a 600 gold difference. Okay, that's a huge difference. That's half an item, right? Or basically your boots. They bought their final boots for free, essentially. That's not exactly right, but just think about it that way. But anyway, so what is the implication on the meta? Okay, so if we all think back, why was Marksman in the jungle such a big thing and such a dominant meta? Okay, well, the reason that that happened is because marksmen are weak early, they scale very well into mid and late game because they need to buy items, right? So marksmen tend to scale with itemization. So they require a lot of gold and they want to get ahead in levels, okay? So the reason you used to put them in the jungle is because the jungle had access to the most gold and the most experience. So if you put a marksman in the jungle, they would end up higher level than everybody and they would end up higher gold than everybody. And that would just turn them into beasts if you could protect them through that early stage where they're kind of weak. So what I see happening after this is I think the same thing is going to happen in Dragon Lane. I think we are going to see a lot of Dragon Lane marksmen, and I think you're going to see supports like Teamy running the new and improved Tide Callers, because that will let them bring extra gold to the Dragon Lane also. So now you imagine you have this marksman farming in Dragon Lane up to the 5-minute mark, right? So if they are last hitting everything and they're really focusing on that, they're going to build a huge gold lead over mid and DS and the jungle. And then you bring in supports like Teamy who give you extra gold per minion killed, and you bring in the support items which also bring you extra gold and experience, and all of a sudden teams are going to be able to funnel huge amount of gold, extra gold and experience onto whoever is in the Dragon Lane. So I don't think this is going to play out right away. I think there's going to be a lot of experimentation and people trying different things, but I 99% guarantee that the meta is going to be shaken up, and it's not going to be what it was before the patch. So my main prediction, and I don't want to complicate things, so my prediction is that we are going to see heavy marksmen in the Dragon Lane, and we are going to see supports who can help keep those marksmen safe until they get those first item or two. So around probably the maybe 5-6 minute mark. So we're going to see supports who can protect the marksmen until that time and funnel gold onto them. To me, that is going to be the major change to the meta. I had some questions about do I think Lindis could end up fitting into this well? Actually, in a weird way, I think Lindis could fit very well into this, because here's another thing, is because of the change to the towers and the fact that if you let minions die within the tower, you're going to lose 10% gold, okay? Well, if the Dragon Lane has the most gold, it also means the 10% is the most significant, right? So 10% of 1800 is going to be 180 gold versus 1500, it's only 150 gold, right? So Dragon Lane is actually going to get the most punished for letting minions die to the tower. Okay, well, there's going to be a dance and kind of a balance. If you can keep somebody safe, if you have heroes who are capable of staying in the Dragon Lane and farming solo, they're going to get huge leads, versus if you put somebody in the Dragon Lane and they have to have a support there to babysit them that's also leeching experience and gold, well then you're splitting this 18, so it's going to be something more like probably one of the players gets 1200 and the other player gets around 600, something like that, right? And those are totally guesstimates on the number, but you get the idea. So then it doesn't become an advantage if the lane is a duo lane. But if you can make it a solo lane and you can keep that laner safe, it is going to be a huge advantage. And I think there are heroes that are available that will be able to solo lane the dragon. So the heroes who I'm looking at are going to be heroes with good good wave clear, so they can clear waves fast, or they can clear waves from a very safe distance, so they can clear them without them coming to the tower. And I'm looking for heroes with very good escape or disengage abilities, okay? So one example would be like a Joker, right? Joker has his different skills which allow him to disengage. So his ultimate can CC, he has his, I forget the name of the ability, but it makes him immune to all physical damage. He can run away, right? Lindis, same thing. She has traps she can set up, so people can't, if she sets up the traps well, it will be almost impossible for enemies to set up a gank on a Lindis lane without her escaping. Also, she has the movement speed through the brush. So if Lindis sets up properly, it's going to be very hard for enemies to ambush her, and she can run away and disengage well. So those are just quick examples. The final point that I wanted to make is basically I think the meta is going to shift around shutting down the dragon lane. Okay, so we just discussed if you let somebody solo dragon lane, they're going to get huge and beefy, and they're going to start stomping other people if you let them just solo farm dragon lane without being punished. So I think a lot of emphasis early game and mid game is going to be on shutting down the dragon lane. It's going to be making enemies have to send support to that lane so that you don't get these really fat marksmen. And then also they already promoted the dragon and taking early towers. So overall, I think dragon lane, the dragon side of the map is going to become extremely important, and I think this should be a lot of fun. I am very excited for the changes they made to the items. Anyways, I think I'll cut the video here. As always, I hope you guys leave comments, ask me questions in the comments, leave any feedback you have. If you disagree with me, go ahead and tell me. You know, I pride myself on being very open to criticism and exchanging of ideas. So please, if you agree, let me know. If you disagree, let me know. Let's have a conversation. Anyways, as always, I hope you all have an amazing day and happy ranking. Take care.